All right, hello, A pushers. So today, what we're going to be doing is taking care of our contextualization for period 4. So we're going to be analyzing some major themes that helps us set the stage from the years of 1800 to 1848. So this period is marked essentially, if we look at our two bookends, if you will, with the election and presidency of Thomas Jefferson, and then it'll end with the conclusion, if you will, of the Mexican-American War. So this era is marked with a strong sense of nationalism. So although we've already gained our independence, formed our own government, this is really the time period where we start to put a lot of these things in action and start to truly develop as an American people and American culture. So we're going to examine the three major themes or key concepts that help us to create that national identity. And the first one of these is essentially that we greatly expand political participation within our country. So this early 1800s is known as the era of democracy. So this democracy movement helps to give more political power and give more say to what we would refer to as the common man. So just a quick rewind. Remember that up until this point in the United States that you could only vote if you were a white male, 21 and over, who owned property. And that harkens back to the idea of no taxation without representation. So if you own property, you're a taxpayer. So what we see during this time period is that those property restrictions fall to the wayside. So now in the United States, you can vote as long as you were a white man who was over the age of 21, regardless of your socioeconomic status and regardless of whether or not you owned property. So we start expanding on those ideals that we enshrined in our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence. So again, we move even further away from this elite rule, if you will, just having the rich and educated lead, because now all white men can vote. So therefore, we're going to have more common people who are also going to be elected into government positions. And so this era is really marked by the presidency and the ideals of Andrew Jackson, so much that oftentimes this time period is referred to as the Jacksonian era. So even though he's not president, obviously from 1800 to 1848, but the ideals that are established during his presidency help to define this era. So Andrew Jackson is considered the first president we had that was a Westerner. He was born on the frontier. He was born in Tennessee. He was a general in both the American Revolution and also the War of 1812. And he serves as a congressman from Tennessee until he is elected to the presidency. So again, the fact that he was, born and raised in a log cabin, the fact that he was a military man and had to work his way up through the ranks, it became a symbol of the political participation and power of the common man. And then finally, last but not least, we have another major political shift where the first party system is dissolved and the second party system takes its place. So the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans of the first party system fizzle away, and the new parties that dominate this time period is going to be the Democratic Party, that's led by Andrew Jackson and friends, and then we have the Whig Party, who is essentially led by Henry Clay. And then after we win the Mexican-American War and we gain a lot of new territory, we'll see a third party that will arrive on the scene known as the Free Soilers or the Free Soil Party. And their main platform is going to be keeping slavery out of this new territory. So they're what we would call a single issue party. So essentially, again, we had massive voter turnout during this era. This was also a very charged and polarized type of political environment, as many people were getting their first taste of political participation due to those property restrictions being lifted.